Today's video is the battery video. We've got to pull out all these nasty old lead acid batteries that have gone bad. They're actually, these ones here are still good, but there's so many bad ones. You can have 5,000 watts of solar coming into here and they will not even charge, but they will get really hot to where you can barely touch them. They'll do that because their plates are all shorted out. They'll take an unlimited amount of power, just suck it up. Crazy. Well, actually, they're not doing too bad. They're almost 4 years old. That's about as good as it gets with these. You get more out of the Trojans. It's interesting, these Trojans are actually like 15 pounds heavier than these ones. And they're about the same size. A lot more lead in those. Definitely better quality battery. So first thing we gotta do, we're gonna unhook the power. This is the main power negative going into the inverter in there. We'll just unhook it right here. And these lines right here are actually going out to a forklift battery that is on the other side of this wall. So I'm running these plus a forklift battery, and they've all just given out. And you can see this nasty corrosion right there. I rearranged everything here just a couple months ago. Actually cleaned all the connections, redid it all. They pulled out all the bad ones, put in golf cart batteries. These actually came out of a golf cart, bolted it back up, tried to get a little more life out of them, and that's all we can get. We're done. It's time to just get these out. So there's the positive. There's no power coming in here, and these things are all still just a hissing and bubbling. As you can see, I've got my nasty clothes on because the acid on these, one little bit of acid on your clothes burns a hole right through it. You don't notice until you throw it in the laundry. You got acid all over them, looks fine. Throw it in the laundry, pull it out of the washer, and it's just full of holes. So we've got 4 banks of 4, and then the 4 banks are parallel together and then run in for 24 volts. So at this point, I'm just going to go ahead and undo all this mess. I'm going to rip this bench out, clean everything up. So we got a clean slate in here. And then we're going to roll in those brand new batteries and install them. These cables coming out through the wall. And these are hooked to an Anderson connector. And this is so you can just plug in your forklift battery. Did this, I just plug in different batteries on the outside. It weighs over 1,500 pounds. It's a few years old. It seems to have given out. You can see it's swollen. Look at these size. These plates used to be hooked together. These batteries are changing sizes as they swell different directions and stuff. That's going to the recyclers as well. And you know what I did find out about recycling batteries is, if you take this in like it is, you get 5 cents a pound. I'm going to try to pull each cell out, and then I will get 17 cents a pound for each cell. And then I'll have a nice steel box. Making progress. I've got all the batteries pulled out of here now. This bench is only 6 years old, and it's already got all these corroded spots. Now look at that. Battery acid almost acts like it's fire. That acts like charcoal. It's crazy. When this thing was charging, middle of the day, there'd be so much sulfuric acid coming off here. It'd just burn your nose, your eyes would water. That's one thing about lead acid I'm not going to miss. And, of course, filling them up all the time. You had to fill those things up once a month. The chores. I'm too old for chores. And we're going to rip this bench out, and it's going to be time for those awesome new batteries. Here's the easy way to get your batteries unloaded. Oh, look at that, that's way easier. I already opened this battery up earlier in our unboxing video. Now I just want to pull the whole thing out and start working on it. See this? When we cleaned out the battery room, that was in there. Now there's your old style inverter. These, see, 5,000 watts. It couldn't do 5,000 watts though. Kind of a joke, but these are your high frequency cheap inverters, and you're lucky to get even a couple months out of them. So I'm going to pre-loosen these nuts so they're ready to adjust it tight to the floor. All right, let's stand this bad boy up. Our ropes are just stuck in there like that. You can pull those out. This is my first wall mount battery. Played with the server rack batteries. The plan is to put it on there, and then I could just roll it in there. So that's what a 300-pound battery feels like. Whoa. There we go. Well, maybe over a little bit more. Easy peasy. So now we're going to take the mounting plate off the back, the wall mount plate. We're going to screw that to the wall. The battery just came with these ones for mounting to concrete. So I'm going to find some lags. Pop a wheelie here. Ooh. Try to pop a wheelie. Get over that door jamb. Let's just walk it over it. So what's crazy about this battery is it's rated for 140 amps continuous discharge, and it's also rated for 140 amps continuous charge. So you can charge these things up so fast. But I am surprised on that big of a battery that it's only 140 amp discharge, which is fine, but that's why you need two of these to run a 12,000 XP. So here's where it's going. We're going to start by putting the wall mount bracket on the wall. Now this says 29.2 inches to the top of this bracket, but I'm thinking these feet got enough adjustment. They're plenty high. I'm just going to go 29 inches to the top of the bracket. 29. So this is the bracket that came for the back for your X brace. I'm using it for a straight edge. And that's where that's going to go. So I am using a stud finder here because I want the exact center of these studs. I do have exposed drywall screws. I could go off of them, but I don't think it's accurate enough. Looks like it would have been. These are right in there. I just know when we're drywalling, we don't measure to put these drywall screws in. We actually just screw them in so we can be off center a little bit. Yep, that looks good. Now that it's all marked, we can put this on. So I'm going to go. This is nice that they give you a top measurement. When they give you a bottom measurement, imagine trying to climb under there and try to figure out where your line is. I can just sit on my rolly stool, put it right up that line, up to the top, center that line, put some pressure on it so it doesn't move, and put this lag in there. Okay, so they recommend if you don't have fireproof backing here, then you put a 2-inch spacer, but your 2-inch spacer needs to be fireproof, and then you can connect to that. Drywall is fireproof. It slipped down. Up where it goes. I'm calling that good enough. So ideally you'd want lags over here too. I don't remember how many hundreds of pounds these are rated for. But the reality is it's sitting on the feet. This is just to keep it from falling over in an earthquake or kids bouncing in the house. All right, let's slide this battery on over. Now I'm going to show you a little trick. I got these on Amazon. I'll put a link in the description for these. These are furniture lifters. So I've got this battery. Oh ho ho ho! We maxed out. I was going to show you an awesome trick and it doesn't work because this is too tall. Got some spacer blocks. We'll try this again. Now these have a quick down and a slow down. So yeah, there you go. Put it on there. Kind of center the battery. Ooh, there you go. It's up. Now we'll do this side. See? Easy peasy. So easy. Just keep some pressure against the battery and make sure we push the right one. One is slow and one is fast. So the top one. Woo! Little on each side. That's definitely the drawback to these. That is a very hard button to push. There you go. Just pull the pressure off by squeezing this a little bit. So we've got like 2 inches to come down still. I think it'd be a lot easier just to grab it with 2 guys and set it on there than use these. There we go. We are on there. You can get screws in. Now we're putting in the wall mount bracket screws. Then I got to do this side. That one is good and solid. Ready. So the second battery is going to go right here. I'm going to go ahead and just mount that, and then we're going to do the conduit boxes. I'm going to assemble these conduit boxes real quick. I've got the left side, the bottom, put that together. Now I'm using the screws that come with this, Phillips screws. You can take your chubby fingers and try to get these in there. Starts going easier. We're just barely snugging them. Put the right side on. Back plate, you're going to use the M6 hex head. At the top, you're going to align it the right way, which there is no right or wrong way for me because I'm not putting an inverter on top. But I'm going to use the plate that came separate. It doesn't have these cut out. It's marked, but they are not actually cut. So I'm going to use this one. Use the last 4 of these. And that just gets this bad boy right there. Indoor buildable conduit box. Just want to make sure that these fit like they should. Yeah, screws right on there. Cool. So these ones are for mounting to the conduit box to the battery, which would go through these, looks like. Cool. So there you go. I just got to snug the screws up the rest of the way. So if you have a nice long extension like this, you can get right down in here and tighten these ones on the back. Easy peasy. The instructions has a list of tools you need. I did it all with this. All right, these are ready for the batteries. Okay, we've got our second battery installed, ready to go. I've gone ahead and already put the conduit box on the top. Before I put the conduit box on here, I'm going to switch this to number 1. I'm going to switch this one over here to number 2. I'm going to assume that everything should be updated firmware, so we should be good to go. If not, I'll have to reset these and do some programming, but most likely it's good to go. So we'll do that. Here we go. Just undo these. So you end up with a lot of extra bolts because they come with the conduit box and they're on top of the battery as well. So pull the front off. I like these nice big twist knobbies on here. Just do it by hand. Put that on there. Let's see how nice that fits. Got plenty of room. Hangs over the tops a bit. I found out what those X braces are for that come with these. That's if you're going to hook this up to the EG4 18000. Here I use a little wrench to get in there. So I am drilling a hole in the back of this conduit box because this is where I'm going to bring up my wires through the wall. I want to point out right here, I put a piece of clear tape over my communication connections so I don't get anything in them. Yeah, look at that nice hole right there. You can see why I covered the communications. I didn't get all that crap in there. That should be this size right here. Nice. Perfection. Let's hook up these batteries. Oh, this is gonna be hard. Look how easy that is. Plug, plug, plug. Uncover and plug. Do you like that? Oh, it'd be nice if they had that same thing on the inverter. Plug them in. Actually, that'd be real smart because then you could have these connected on all the ends and the batteries would have what they need to hook together or to an inverter. Oh, look how nice that is. That is nice. Now I got to figure out if I'm plugging into this or this. I'm not sure which one. Let me just point out a very important detail. Battery comm is orange. So I've got it taped to this other wire that's probably for paralleling inverters, and I've just got to pull it up through and get this swapped out. It plugs into here. All right, we're gonna power this sucker up. Look at those pretty colors. 54% settings. Oh, well, look at that. If you turn the battery on, then you can see right there, can EG4 Lux Power hooks into the can. The battery is smart. Get ourselves a breaker. Juice into the inverter now. Run alarm. So it looks like it's just 100% touchscreen on these. Pretty cool. That gets one battery hooked up. Now we've got to run some conduit over to this one and hook this other one up. So I've got a piece of conduit here. This is bendy conduit, but don't bend that easy. Got it for free off a job. They're just tossing tons of this way when they get done with their runs. You take the heat gun, lay some heat on here. Just heat the whole middle section, leave the ends unheated. That big of a piece takes a minute to get it warm, but you can see it's getting flexible, starting to bend, see? But not quite enough. Laying some heat on there. The trick is to get it heated evenly enough that it all bends the same instead of just in one spot. You kind of see how it's bending. Put more heat out here to get more of a gradual bend. Could just put the whole thing in your oven, but I think that would make it harder to use because the ends would be all soft too. I just want the middle soft. Alright, let's give that a try. Ooh, that's definitely bendy. Oh, I think it's going to be easy. It's just go like this. Feed it through. That's a pretty sharp bend. Oh yeah, it's really warm there. That's what we gotta do. Like that. Don't like how it kinked right here. Should work. Put the Sawzall. And do this side. There we go. I'm actually going to hit this with some heat and bend that out a little bit more. I don't like how it looks. Going to glue these in. I've got my glove. Now this is old Loctite premium. It's premium though, but it's the whole tip was plugged, and so I've got to put some up on my finger, goop that onto there. I would prefer to use some nice gray silicone, but I don't have any on hand. I always just go out and see what I can find. That's going on there pretty nice. Do a nice smooth. Well, it's not the prettiest, but that's why we're doing it on the inside of the box. Then we'll do this one. See, I did melt that and made it a little bit straighter. Okay, there we go. Let that dry for a little while. All right, both batteries are off. This is dry. We're gonna go ahead and pull these wires through there. Figure out the best way to do this. I'm kind of thinking all at the same time. Oh, look at that. That is super easy. Okay, now I'm gonna put like a loop in here. Hook up this negative, positive. I think we're gonna do the same thing. We'll put a little loop into it. About there, yeah. Put a little loop in there. Plug it on. Plug this one on. Hear that click when it goes on there. See, it's got a little push button release. Snaps on, so they lock on nice and tight. Pretty cool. Battery comms. This has got a twisty thing so you can lock it on the battery, but these ones don't have a twisty on here. So this one, I wonder why that one didn't snap in. There it goes. Had to bend the prong a little bit. Now we're gonna power these things up. So this one's the master battery. We are gonna turn it on first. You turn on the BMS. It's 100% charged. You want these to be charged about the same, but I'm experimenting. I'm gonna see how well the BMS works on these to balance them out. This one's at 54%, and this one's at 100%. So now you're gonna flip on your breaker. Now these, you push that down a little bit, so you can open that. Turn this one on. Now imagine it's gonna feed power from this into this one. See, we're at 54%. Now we're going to turn this breaker on. So they're both on standby right now. Discharging and charging. So this one's charging at 19 amps. Going down a little bit. That one's discharging. The same, so it's transferring power from this one over to here, and it's starting to balance out, which I think would take a while to balance out. We're going to turn the power on to it. But I'd like to point out that these lights on the front correspond to the percentage of charge. 4 green lights, fully charged. See, this one's just got 3 lights. But one thing I am noticing is that these charge around just over 700 watts when they're just trickling on to top them off, and that's all I'm getting is enough to just top these off. Interesting. That's what these experiments are for. And I've got to admit, it's crazy. It's nice and cool in here with these 2 batteries. They don't put out any heat. You can feel them, same temperature as the wall. No heat coming out of these. When I had all those lead acids in here, they were putting off so much heat. This room was hot. You had to open the door and try to let some heat out of here because they were just heating this place like crazy. Okay, I just had to give it a little more time, and now it's recognizing everything, and it's actually charging at full capacity. As you can see here, we're charging at 4,500 watts coming into the batteries. I've got 3,500 watts on PV1, 1,200 watts on PV2 coming in. Over here gives you your total battery capacity. So we've got 560 amp hours. We currently have 442 amp hours in our batteries. Total battery 2. We're charging at 82 amps. And if I scroll down, So this is both batteries together. Then you get your batteries separate. There's a battery 0, which would be the first one, but see it says 100% charged. It's got 13.2 amps coming into it. Battery 1, which would be the second battery, is 59% charged, and it's got 59.1 amp flowing into it. Those BMSs are pretty impressive. That's just balancing that right out. Sweet. It's been 4 hours. We're still charging pretty good with the solar. 1600, almost 800 there. Oh, that's like 2400. But the house is consuming 864 watts. And so we're only charging at almost 1500 watts. 100% on the first battery, and the second battery has come up to 96% now. That's pretty cool. I don't know if I'm going to get 100% today or not because the sun's starting to go down. It might take till tomorrow to balance it out. We made it. Imagine that. So we got just enough solar coming in. Battery 1, 100%. 100%. So there you have it. These batteries are really good at balancing themselves out. All right, these batteries are phenomenal. That's so great. We went from power dying every night, rationing power, to just having power. It's like, you kids want to use the air fryer at midnight? Go ahead. I don't care. We got tons of power. In the morning, we're at 65% on these batteries. And by 1 o'clock, they're 100% charged. So just tons of power. Not rationing power anymore. Awesome. So it's really cool how well these balance themselves out. I mean, they're almost a 50% difference when I hooked them up, and now they're right together, same percentage of charge, discharging, charging, 100% the same. Pretty cool. I'm pretty sure you can just keep hooking up more and more batteries. With these BMSs, they just balance the batteries. It's sweet. One thing I'm really impressed with lithium is these are rated for 8,000 cycles. So I think like 5 years from now, I could add another battery in here and it'd work just fine because these are not going to be degraded enough to matter. With your lead acid, you're pushing it. If it's 6 months later, you add more batteries to your bank, you're probably pulling the entire bank down. So lithium is awesome for sure. So that concludes the battery install. The inverter install video is separate, and I'll put a link in the description so you can find that. I'll also have links in the description for the specs on these batteries and product links as well. You can check those out. Thank you so much for watching, and we will catch you all in the next video.